24 episodes in, and here we are. So obviously this alternator is not doing right. It's like a Delco 10SI, I think is what we figured out. There's no sticker on it anywhere, but it's what it looks like. So got the kit to rebuild that, and we'll get that done. Over here, though, we're starting to learn is a nightmare on the wiring. I will be cleaning that off a little bit, making sure the grounds are good at least, but all the stuff hidden behind the electrical tape, it's just not looking so good right now. It was working, it was running like this, but I mean, what even is this? It's hooked up to 12 volts on this starter relay, but yet it goes nowhere. I think that's supposed to go somewhere. So we spent a little bit of time diagramming it out, trying to figure out what we have and what goes where. That was yesterday. Took a little bit of figuring out and tracing and getting under the dash, but that's kind of what we came up with. I would not use this as an example of how it should be, because it matches pretty close to what it should be, but there are better diagrams out there. At least tools are rolling in. Get out of here. That sucker's not going to come off without one of these. This is the heavy duty one that everyone says to get. So this thing's just about ready to go. Start pulling some hubs, though you are supposed to put a good amount of grease on those threads. I do intend to do that. Honestly, though, it is a little bit disheartening because I did have somewhat unrealistic expectations of getting this thing running and driving and actually able to stop as well after sitting in a barn for 30 years. I really did have high hopes of puttering around with that thing, maybe towing that guy around to go do stuff. But winter is about here. It's getting cold. I don't really have a good heat set up in this garage, so it's going to be kind of cold and blah to work in here. So unfortunately, progress is going to slow way down, but that's how it goes. Well, gang, it's Halloween and things got spooky. There was magic smoke coming up from the vicinity of that. We've been trying to figure out some wiring stuff, especially with this starter relay here. Now, the old one, we weren't hearing it click. It worked, but it seemed weak. So we went ahead and swapped it out with a brand new shiny one. And it wasn't working right. In fact, it actually got stuck engaged. So we turned the key off, pulled the key out, came back over here to puzzle over why it wasn't working, just to be greeted by some smoke. Yeah, don't release the magic smoke. So after just a little bit of, percussive maintenance, it took a while of thinking too, but we disengaged that guy, stopped. This thing was arcing every time we would touch the battery, so it took a little bit of thinking, but obviously that was the point of failure. And after a little bit more noodling through what the heck was going on here, we came to today's tech tip for any of you who might be watching and might be doing one of these Jeeps. This starter solenoid. I think they call this the Ford style or something like that. It was real popular in the 70s and so forth, from what I understand. You have got to make sure that guy is grounded. On this original one here, the former owner, 2 or 3 owners back, whoever converted this guy to 12 volt and put the alternator in and all that, decided that the best place to put this guy was right through the serial tag. Now I've taken the serial number tag off because I'm hoping to get a replica made of it with the correct number, because they drilled right freaking through it. But it had the 4 corner screws and then these 2 big old screws through it. And this thing was mounted to that. And there wasn't, I guess, enough of a ground on the body of this guy to have a sufficient ground for it to work. This was not the case, of course, when I had this thing kind of put back up here just with the 2 screws, which, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and just put those right back in there for safekeeping, because I really don't want to lose those. Because for better or worse, is what I got right now. But yeah, this thing got really spooky, and it turns out, check your grounds. Also, you'll see this one shiny new suspicious wire. We went ahead and swapped out, let's see if I got it. This guy. They had done a little bit of surgery here, but this was going to the S terminal, and this was off the ignition. And it just shaking it here, it's shedding bits and pieces of itself. This is original 70-something-year-old wire, so it's junk. And it wasn't safe because it was all kinds of, there was wire exposed. It just wasn't safe. And I don't like things being on fire in a vehicle like this. So we went ahead and just replaced that. We're going to redo all this again. This is just to make the sucker work. This is the make it work phase. But yes, I have done my usual, and I have rambled on, and I've forgotten what point I was trying to make. But yes, magic smoke. It's not good to release that ground stuff. Oh, grounds is what I was getting at. This, the body is not grounded to the frame. I've looked all over, and there should be like a braided ground strap somewhere, and there isn't. So I'm going to add 2 grounding straps. One from the body to the chassis, and one from the engine to the chassis. Because there isn't one engine to chassis, and I think there should be. When it's a standard braided steel cable, it should be there, but it's not. So that's my homework. But basically, what my dad came up with, he was doing the research. The alternator, we haven't really rebuilt it yet, but we're thinking that this 3-wire alternator may not have actually been hooked up right. We're still at a loss on this one, because there's the main wire, there's the 1 and the 2. Actually, I need to plug these back in again. The 1 is hang on, it's childproof. Dad did all the homework, and on these 3-wire systems, that bottom wire, that red wire, the number 2 wire, is supposed to, you either jumper it right off the battery output, or in our case, it got linked back up, right next to where the main battery line comes up and gets tied off of this post here. Also, theoretically, these are kind of interchangeable on these posts. You can put it on either side, because whenever it engages, it just completes the circuit. In our case, it was with the positive on the right side. When we first did this, we tried to put the positive on the left side and kind of run it a little bit differently. Like, we've seen a lot of examples on other YouTube channels where this guy was kind of wired flip of this, and things got spooky and they went wrong, and we started second guessing ourselves and thinking we maybe had a bad part. But yes, that alternator might actually be fine. It's just, it might not be hooked up correctly. Because here's the weird part. That number 1 wire, which I believe is the sensing wire, if I remember what he was trying to tell me, that guy is to the accessory on the ignition. That doesn't seem right to me. because we thought it was supposed to go on this bypass, this eye post here. And we put it there, and that's about when things just started going smoky around here. So we undid that and put it back the way it was, and just one thing, reversing one change at a time, trying to figure out what it was until we finally, an hour later, came to ground. So the moral of this spooky day is to check your grounds. Check them right now. Maybe not right now, but just remember to check them.